So it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Mart Laidmets. And he is the Deputy Secretary General for General and Vocational Education in the Estonian Ministry for Education and Research. Mr. Laidmets is tasked with coordinating issues related to general, vocational and adult education, the vocational system, external evaluations, the teaching profession and special educational needs. Let me now fix the...
So, welcome to Tallinn on behalf of Estonian presidency. First of all, apologies and greetings from Minister Mailis Reps. It wasn't her fault; she couldn't be here. It was the Prime Minister to blame because decision was made that the budget for the next year will be adopted at the extraordinary meeting, which began at 9 o'clock today. So it's always good to be when budget is discussed at the government meeting. So I have to replace, but as you already heard, I'm also a very important person. I'm in kind of impersonated lifelong learning because I'm responsible for all levels of education except higher education, but I used to be head of higher education department, so I have some knowledge about that also. And of course, lifelong guidance and career guidance is something that I'm working with also every day. But first of all, welcome here to this Maarjamaa Palace. When I'm thinking that the world is changing so fast and new ideas and new skills are needed, and this place is some kind of very good example that life has been changing all the time. So, first of all, it's quite far from Tallinn actually. It was used as a summer manor, summer house for all family during the 17th century. After that, it was sugar. It was something very strange. It was steam mill. It has been used as a very noble hotel. Even military aviation academy. And now, as you can see, it's a museum. But it's not. But the museums are not the only museums nowadays. It's more like entertainment and education institutions, so probably you will have time and look around here also. But main reason you are here is not, of course, this castle, but the Estonian presidency, and we have really very clear priorities during our presidency, which are very closely connected to the topic of your conference, or ICT and lifelong guidance. One of main priorities is modernization of education. Last week we had a very big conference on this topic at Tallinn University, and 2 weeks ago we had a high-level conference about future of work. And I always like the conferences about future of work because about 80% at least presentations end with the conclusion that education system has to make things better or perfect. Nobody knows exactly how. Quite often there is also somebody who says that career guidance is also very important. But which skills are needed and how exactly the education systems should react is not touched very deeply, usually. So we are trying actually touch this topic also, relationship between education and work, graduate tracking on the European level, Europass, which most of you, of course, are working with quite often, is a little bit old-fashioned already if you look at it, and it should be really renewed, and the topic is so important that discussions are quite fierce at the education committee, but hopefully we will come to the trialogues anyway during our presidency. And of course, in November, Ministerial Council in Brussels, we hope to have decisions on communications about general and higher education also. Probably I don't have to tell you why the lifelong learning, why lifelong guidance is important, but yes, world is changing quite fast. The skills are totally different, and the skills needed to have a very good job are different. But when we're talking about this new approach to teaching and learning, what does it mean exactly? One of the first most important changes, probably, which has not happened in many systems, is that the learner should also understand that if approach is student-centered, when the learner has also responsibility and has to be active partner, not to wait the decisions made somewhere else or just take in the information. And that's the place where lifelong guidance is very important for young and even older people. You can know very many things, but if you are not working together with others, or if you don't have skills how to find the solutions, how to make the compromises, that's another part of changing school education culture, how to learn with soft skills. And of course, there are more and more people with special needs. We were not maybe aware that there were special needs earlier, or they were not considered as special needs, just some strange people. But of course, people are different, and we have to accept, and the people have also accepted different approaches to them. So that's definitely a question where we have to work more. And when I have opened this conference here, when I'm going to open next conference in the afternoon about inclusive education in Europe, and our presidency conference, so those two topics are discussed in Tallinn at the same time, even. And of course, yesterday I came from, actually some hours ago, I arrived from Luxembourg, where the Global Education Industry Summit, which was organized by the European Commission and OECD, ended and concluded that next year's summit, which will be held in Tallinn, will have as most or as a priority topic about data in education, how to make this evidence-based, how to find this evidence-based solutions, how to actually help the students and teachers, school leaders with best data available. That's a question which is not answered in many systems because we are still a little bit afraid of using big data in education. So these are the big topics which you will probably be discussing, but a bit more about Estonian approach to this lifelong guidance. We have adopted the Estonian lifelong learning strategy for 2020. Oh, I have some pictures also. Yeah, okay. I always forget that PowerPoint is a very powerful tool. Anyway, we have a strategy, and there are a lot of indicators, goals we want to achieve. But the most important is, of course, that we are teaching the young kids, older people, everybody. We're teaching them to learn. It's the most complicated task we can have, because when we are already having this knowledge, how to learn, then it's much easier to actually give all career guidance, to make them more harder, not harder maybe, but to make them really take the challenges which life is offering, because Estonian problem is that our, as you could see, general education or basic education system is quite good. But after basic school, only 27% of the students go to vocational education. And even worse, 40% of young people going to upper secondary school, to academic pathway, they don't get any skills, or they don't get higher education or professional certificate after upper secondary school. So actually, we have more than 30% of people in Estonia which don't have any professional degree. So we have only general education, which is very good. We are having very good general skills. And in a way, it's good to have general skills. But if you don't have those specific skills to really work on with something on very high level, if you are not specialist, then it's still quite difficult to actually at least get better position in a society. And it's not only for one person, but it's of course for a whole society big problem, because if we are trying to catch Finland or Sweden, where people are professionals and they are learning, for example, from our neighbors, they are learning specific skills and having very good general education also, when we have to come to those solutions with the help of career guidance, how to actually find the people, how to make them really understand what should be their interest, how to awaken their spirit to really go to school and learn something. That's why you have started those 15 regional Pathfinder centers. We are working together with the Ministry of Social Affairs and Unemployment Insurance Fund, so even with adult people which maybe have skills which are not very contemporary, that they should really go again to schools and learn the new skills, because without that you will just not only get bad salary, but your life quality is overall lower. And of course, one big problem in Estonia is dropout, both in vocational and higher education. And it's clear that it has something to do with career guidance. What is actually positive, that the PISA test is not only ranking, it measures a huge amount of other indicators also. And one of them is But exactly 1 year after the Pathfinder centers were established and the PISA test was conducted, the number of students in basic school or which attended PISA test who didn't know what they want to do after basic school declined more than 11%, so only 50% doesn't know in the end of basic school what is the work they would like to do. Maybe it was already the good work of Pathfinder Center, but maybe it was something changed in the curriculum. But of course, yes, I have also come to this page. But the questions you are going to probably discuss here, quality, relevance, and accessibility. It's not only the Estonian case. Although when we do something, we really try to make it relatively systematically. That's why we established two centers. We have responsibility on different levels, but of course there is a lot of things to coordinate this information, because you have to have some data to really give career guidance to the young people. That's why we started some kind of monitoring system of working or labor market, which is called OSKA in Estonian, or you can translate it to you can. And it tries to analyze all the sectors of economy which needs vary during next 10 years. We have and it's a little bit strange, but it's in the responsibilities of Ministry of Education and Research, and I am the chairman of this council of OSKA, so I have to say to myself what kind of study places I have to order from the schools. But in a way it's good, of course, because we are working very closely together with employers, employees, and the information is not disappearing somewhere, because it's, at least in my head, so I know where the problems might be. And we have really seen that in some sectors we are educating too many people on the level of higher education. In some sectors we are lacking in vocational education. But even when I am talking that there should be more people going to vocational education, we can see, but in some cases there is already more people than needed. So to maybe sum up, when I was already talking about high hopes about education systems, of course the education system cannot solve all the problems if we don't know what the problems, for example, in the field of future of work, have to be solved. And at the same time, of course, career guidance or lifelong guidance isn't a miracle cure either, which will solve all the problems, but it can help to solve many problems on personal level. And when we are solved on personal level, of course, they can help our societies to develop much faster and more balanced than it has been the case in many ways until now, because societies are more and more diverse. The labor market is really maybe changing faster than during the last centuries. But as our president, Lennart Meri, said, many of you maybe have heard about him. He was very extraordinary president. He wasn't. Well, it was no ordinary day in his life, probably. But as you can see, that we have to be faster than the world if we want to really achieve something, and at the same time be in touch with real life. It is much easier, of course, for small countries and small nations to make those changes faster, and that's why Estonia has probably become one of the first more or less digital societies in the world, and that we really try to give the best education. But anyway, there is a lot of things still to do, and I hope that we all will learn much from this conference, and tomorrow, when I have the honor to conclude this seminar, we will be all much more competent than today. So I wish you very active participation and good discussions and very nice conference.
Thank you.